Hi everyone, it's TJ Dagger here. One of my Steam mates has asked me if I could do a short video on basically his situation is he's got a zone called Town and he wants to set it up so that when there's less than 10 bad guys in it, reinforcements are set. So to show how I would do with this, I've just copied a map, one of the USA maps, Mission 3. I'm going to use this to show my example of how I would take that. Okay, so we'll start by creating a town zone. So we'll add a new poly here in F3 under missions and call that town. And we'll spread that around, encompassing the town. You can add more points to it. Just right click to stop from adding more points. With zones, you can't have an inverted shape. So keep it green. Add another point out there. Added a few too many then. That's why you got to right click when you start adding them. Okay, and of course you can just delete them. Select one, delete. So there, we've got our zone. That's our town zone. Okay, so the next thing I want to set up is my waypoints for the enemy reinforcements to come back in to this zone. So I'm going to add a group of waypoints. I'm going to call them town. Okay, oh, that's going to be the one they start at. I'm going to just make that a bit smaller. So they'll start there. Let's put it in the building, why not? Size it so they spawn inside there. Yep. And I'm going to add in there a command. I'm going to add an actor state. Because we're going to use actor to waypoint to spawn the guys at that point, the actor state will come into effect. So they're going to be AI. They're going to be open fire. I'm going to put them on, as far as move mode, I'm going to put it on hold. And I'm going to disable their ability to fight back and that sort of thing. But I'm going to make them be able to respond if they get injured. Okay, they're going to be on fast. And they're going to be the fast kind of fast. And of course they'll have their weapons out. And we'll click OK. Okay. Now, make sure I've got that one selected. I'm going to add another one there. And in this one, I'm going to add another actor state. And I'm going to we're going to enable the AI move. I'm going to put them on assault. Yeah, they can fast assault, why not? Okay, weapon prepare. All the other things we previously set over here. So with the open fire and AI control, all them things will still apply to them as long as we don't change them here. So move mode, we're going to put this on zone. Now we'll put it on free. We will put that on free. So they'll get to this point. They'll be able to freely move and respond. So probably want these somewhere where they can So theoretically he should charge to that spot. Where we put it? I'm gonna, with that selected, I'm gonna go Control C, then I'm gonna select this one, and I'm gonna go Control V, and basically I'm just duplicating those points. I might even adjust that zone a little bit. Thinking out loud. Okay, we'll spread them out a bit. Okay, so the reason I'm copying them is so I don't have to put an actor state on them all again. Right, so they've got free roam movement. Okay. Now I'm going to add more waypoints. This time I'm going to go add actor state. And I'm going to put him on I'm going to change them to zone. I'm going to make it 10. Now we wonder how big is 10. The way we can check that is we can go a new circle, just name it anything, add 10. So that's a 10 radius when we're talking about this. Let's delete that, we don't need it. Okay, so what's going to happen here, you're going to get to that point, and instead of having free roam, they're only going to move within a 10-meter radius from that point once they arrive at it. So I'm going to copy that one. So this should spread them out around there. And I'm just copying those so they have that. Okay. So now I'm going to place some guys who are going to be our bad guys on the map. We'll make them the rebels, why not? And I'll just put a few out here. That's 2, 3. Let's put a sniper in among them. So there's 10 of them. Change them to player 1. That's going to be our bad guy. So I better go into F9 mode and set the player as player O. It's always important to do. Might save this as, let's save it as town. Okay, so we're going to give these guys some tags. So I've got them all selected. Control T to bring this up, and I'm going to call them town. Why not? Alt T will make that appear. Control T to bring this back up. I'm going to make them hidden. Right. Now I'm going to create a trigger. I'm going to call it town. A little slash there. Spawn. That little slash, when I named it, creates that menu. Okay, so condition we're going to want here is going to be an entities, and I'm going to change it to advanced. I'm going to add a group. Just right click to open all these little menus. Okay, so we're going to go zone, the town zone, include player 1. I'm going to include the prop human. We'll exclude the state dead. exclude the state inactive, which is what our hidden guys are at the moment. And whenever you use these, you don't tick more than one box. It'll only register the top one that you add. So for each state you want to exclude, include another instance of the state command there. Okay, we're also going to, what do we got? Linked. We'll exclude anyone who's linked. So if we add vehicles into this, or we've got vehicles driving through, it won't count the guys in the vehicles. Because anyone connected to a vehicle, or even on a mounted machine gun, they're considered linked. Okay, so if the count is less than 10, I think we've got everything we need there. Okay, we're going to add in here, act at a waypoint. Where are you? Under other. Okay, advanced again, group. Who are we going here? We're going to get the tag. They're going to be town. We're going to include the state inactive, so that's our hidden guys. So the guys we want to spawn are going to be the hidden ones. We're going to exclude any that are dead. We're going to include humans only. We're going to, we'll exclude any that are linked, because what can happen there is, because units can be linked to a vehicle, but when they climb in they become hidden, so they become inactive. So theoretically we could be spawning guys who are linked in a vehicle, perhaps, if that comes up. So we're going to avoid that situation from happening. Okay, so it's going to be waypoint O. We're going to clone them. We'll teleport and rotate, and we can pretty much save it and press start and see what happens. Here they go, spreading out, doing what we expect. Speed that up a bit. Oh, excuse me. So what are they doing? They run around shooting all the animals. They're just bullies. Okay, we can finish that. Okay, so with our command here, we want to add a delay there. Let's just go 2 seconds here. Add trigger. So at 2 seconds they're just going to keep pouring in one after the other until that zone fills up with 10 guys. So we've got two things we could do here. We could either make that enough time to let them run in there. So we could say whatever, you know, a minute, 2 minutes, you know, if you want to space out your reinforcements, you could add various time frames for this. Or in this situation, you could even just adjust your zone so that as soon as they spawn in, they're actually inside the zone already. How does that line up? In F9 you can actually make... Wow, my waypoint's showing up. Okay, because I'm not on the right one. There we go. So let's try it without. So they're just going to keep pouring in one after the other, then another, but if that's back there, it'll stop. It should. They're less than 10. to go a couple iterations. Okay. Okay, we see there it doesn't register. It takes some few moments to register it. So if I change that, shouldn't register twice because it gives it a chance for that to work. Unless of course they step out. Right, let's test it with a few guys. Let's put some German guys here. Arrow, very good. Okay, start. Okay, we got more coming in up the back. And they're spreading out all around us like they should. And we can test our kill here. Let's see. So if we get down to less than 10 again, more should spawn in. So let's go. Where are we? What the hell's going on here? Service, damage, explosion. Okay, let's take some of these guys out. Kill a few more off. And here we have another lot spawning in, just like we expect. So whenever it falls below 10 on that, more spawn in. Okay, for this little test run, I've moved our guys right up the front, and basically we're going to look at how the enemy will, instead of stopping engaging us, they won't unless they're injured. He dropped, he got injured. He must have got shot. Okay, the rest of them are still running unless they get injured. Alright. Another lot of spawning in. Unless they get, because we've set that actor state, they will only stop and drop if they've been injured. So what that is on the waypoints actually. Town. Okay, when we set this, we've got AI move disabled, enable on injure. So basically they're just going to do what they're commanded to do. They're going to run to the waypoint unless they get injured and then they stop. And what happens when they reach these first points, they're actually they're put on free mode and they're enabled, so they will react a bit more. They should. Well, looks like we've injured most of them. Now they've stopped dead. What happens? If they can't see us. If they lose sight of us, they're going to move in under these circumstances. So he'll stop again. He's been injured. He's on. He was on free move mode, so he obviously made it to that point, which is where they run to next. So what would happen is, if we were to change this one here to undo the injure, get rid of some of these bad guys so that we can spawn some more in. Where are they all? There's one. Alright, we've got another lot spawning in. And we'll be able to injure these, but they won't stop when they're shot now. They keep running. Doesn't matter if they get injured now, they won't react. So you definitely play with all this stuff to work out the best way to bring your guys in. See, these points would, well, they're enabled to move now and they're free. That's what we want. So you can create quite a dynamic battle just by playing with your actor states on your enemy. Okay, so as it stands, those reinforcements are just going to be endless waves. So if we want to have some control over that, let's say we only want 30 reinforcements to be available, or 3 waves. What we can do is, in our spawn function there, we can add another condition. We could go this one, the CMPI, which is your variable stuff. So we'll have to add a variable, so we go to F9, we go to vars, and just simply go add, and I'll call it town waves. Go away, you. Town waves. Okay. So we've just created a variable there in F9. Okay. So now it's going to be available here to select town waves. So if town waves are greater than, say, 0. Okay. So what I've got to do here is, we've got to set that. We can either count up or down with our waves. So say we want, let's say we want 3 waves. So instead we'll go, if it's less than 3. Town waves is less than 3. Okay. In our function here we will add a generic set. So here we're going to set that variable, town waves, and we're going to make it +1. I'm just going to hold Alt and use the arrow keys to move that up, so it sets it at the beginning of that. So as long as it's less than 3, each time we add 1. So let's go start that. So while it's running in F3 mode, and I press F8, bring up this, and we can see there that the town waves equals 1, because this is run and it's added 1. Okay. So we'll kill off some of these guys. We can and go back to F8 mode. Now town waves equals 2. This is the mission state I bring up with F8. So we get rid of some of these guys again. Force another wave to spawn in, which they just did. So we've reached 3. So we can hover on here and it'll tell us that, okay, there's more than 10 in there. The 0 there means that condition is not yet met. So we'll get rid of these guys. Okay, so the first condition is met, but the second one isn't, so it's not going to spawn in anymore now. We've done our 3 waves because it's already equals 3. Less than 3. So you can adjust that number to whatever you want there, so how many waves, and that way you can control how many come in.